Welcome back, guys. Now, so many of you have been asking me to solve more questions on graphs, like bride hunting and forest fire. So that is why we have just chosen this perfect question, this skateboard. Even though we have already solved bride hunting and forest fire, but skateboard, I personally like to think that this question is one notch above those, right? Because in those questions, our path was predetermined. We know that we have to just iterate through whole of them, and we actually didn't use any sort of algorithm. But in skateboard, we have to use algorithm. It is just, it's a combination of so many different concepts, and you'll actually love it. Now, what is the beauty of graph question? When you solve one type of graph question, you know the approach of 10 different graph questions. And skateboard is a type of question that once we are done with this, you'll actually know the approach of 50 different type of questions. Okay, so now let's move on to the problem description. Enough with the introduction, right? Okay. The amusement park in Patagonia has introduced a new skateboard competition. The skating surface is a grid of n into n squares, right? Perfect. Most squares are so constructed with the slopes, and it is possible to direct the skateboard in any up to three directions. Okay, we only can move to three directions: north, east, south, and west, and they will be denoted by NESW. Okay. Some squares, however, have a deep drop from the adjacent squares. Okay, from consider it like a pitfall. Okay, this deep drop part, which from which it is impossible to go to any adjacent square. Okay, so if we have come up to a deep drop, then after that we can't go anywhere, and that is a cross for us. Okay, they are represented by D for drop. Okay, the objective is to maneuver the skateboard to reach the southeast corner of the grid marked F. So I hope you can see this figure at this almost this southeast corner, or what I like to call as bottom right. At this corner we have this thing known as F. We have this marker as F, and we always have to reach at this F point. Okay, so this most southeast, right? So this southeast point, it will always be our final point, and we have to just maneuver up till here. Great. Each contestant is given up a map of grid. So this is our map of grid. Okay, look at it perfectly, which shows where the drop squares are marked D. So if you can see, then this at fourth row and what sixth column we have our D, and in fifth row and third column we have another D. And if by any chance we come to D, after that we can't move to uh, any other grid. Okay, the contestant draws lots to determine which of the squares on the boundary of the grid, on the north or the west of the grid, he or she should start in. Okay, so this is a very important fact that very important key point, or a very important information, that the contestants, they will only start from from a north line, from the boundary of north or west. So the contestant, they can only start from this part. I hope you can see my cursor, but don't worry, we'll just move on to the graphical part. Just give me a few minutes, I'll just read out this problem completely. Okay, so they can basically only start from the boundary of this north part or the boundary of this west part. Okay, contestant can only start from these 11 squares, because this is a 6 cross 6 graph grid, whatever. And they are so much helpful that they have provided us with this direction map, because we don't know where is north, where is south. Okay, in some cases it is impossible to reach a destination. For example, in the diagram above, if one starts at northeast corner, don't worry, I'll just tell you it in a bit, and it's not important. I'll tell you what we are supposed to do. A contestant asks you to figure out the number of squares at the north or west boundary from which it is feasible to reach the direction. So the question, long story short, what we are supposed to do is, we have to just find out all of these, out of all of these paths, all of these grids, all of these boxes, how many paths are safe, which means from how many paths I can successfully move to this final location. This is not a question of DP, right? I'll tell you that this is not a question of DP. Why? Because we have to check the paths, but we are not going to use a dynamic programming approach. This is a graph question. Okay, so we just have to find all of these north boundary and this west boundary. Out of all of these boxes, out of all of these cells, which cells are safe enough that if I pick that cell, then I will I can actually reach till F. And suppose I'll just tell you why. Suppose this what is this first and the sixth, this part. Okay, look at this part. It says S. Okay, so we can only move to south. The directions that are the initials of the direction that are written, we can only move up to that direction. Okay, so if a participant start from this part, okay, he starts from this, so he can only move to south, and then again he can only move to south, and then he can only move to south. And if he only has this one path, and if he follows that path, he is bounded to go to this drop. So if a contestant starts from this cell, then you can never reach the final position. So basically, we are supposed to count the total number of cells from where we are safe and we can reach to the final point. I hope the question is clear. Okay. Now, constraints 550, so small, which means, the constraints tell us that our approach, it can be actually up to what? Uh, it can be n cube. We can use an n cube approach. Can we? 550, what will be at 50 into 50 into 50? Yes, we can use an n cube approach also. Okay. So, when, by the way, whenever there's a graph question, the constraints are, determined to be low. Why? Because graph questions have a high complexity. Okay. Input format, the first cell of the input is a positive integer n, which is the number of squares in each side of the grid. Okay. The next n lines have a n string of character representing the content of the map for that corresponding row. Each string may be f representing the final destination. So basically, these are what, I don't remember the exact word. Okay, whatever that was. So f will denote always the final position, d will denote the drop, and nesw, at each cell they will be marked with these strings nesw, f, or d. D means drop. If you have come here, then you can't go anywhere. If you have come to f, then you have reached, your win. Okay. And at a particular cell you can only have three values. Okay. You can at max you can only have these three directions. So these directions means that a participant at this cell can move to these three directions. So if I'm at WSC, then he can move to west also, he can move to south also, and he can move to east also. Okay, great. Now, what is our output? The output is in one line with the number of north or west borders. We have to just find out the total number of cells in the north or west borders that are safe, and from those from that particular point we can maneuver to the final destinations. Okay. So this is our examples. Input 1 6. So we have a grid of 6 into 6. We have a graph of 6 into 6, and this is our the values of all those graphs. We'll just take it as input, and our output is 9. Okay, and I'll tell you how it is, because in this word it will be a little bit hard. Okay, and something else? No. I'll just copy this and we'll do all of our experiment on this only. Okay. So do I have to tell you anything else? Well, don't this drop remind you of something else? If you have played that Pokemon Nintendo, which you can also play it on Desmu emulator, then it is sort of like when you are riding a cycle and you just fall down a slope and you can only move downwards, then you can come back upwards. So that is what this drop is like. Okay. And if you play Pokemon, you're cool. Okay, thank you. By the way, what? Okay, I'll just show you an example of both of these. So just give me a second, right? All right, now this was the first graph that we have seen in the example one, and now I'll show you how we are, supposed to find the safe paths and how will they are, find out which paths are unsafe. So it's very simple. This, let's start from this coordinate. Okay, so this coordinate is, what does it say? It says S, which means I can only move to south direction. Okay, sir, I move to south, I come this point. And what about this point? It again says that I have to move to south direction. Okay, I can't move anywhere else. I can only move to where that particular string specifies me. And at max I can have three directions, but right now I only have one direction. So I come to this south again. It says that go again to south. Then I come here and I find out that there's a D here. So which means that I have fallen into I have fallen into D, which means I can't move anywhere. So this is a wrong cell, because first of all I don't have any other options. I just have to move down this path, and after that I fall into D. So which means that this complete path, this is a big no-no. I should not follow this path because this will lead me to D. Okay, so this path is unsafe. Okay, I've marked it for it. What about this ES? Now I come to this path. Okay, so let's say firstly I can't move to east. We have two options, east or west, east or south, right? uh Firstly I can't move to east. Why? Because if I move to east, then it only means one thing. Let me just get that direction also, it will become a lot easy. Okay, so firstly I can't move to east. Why? Because if I move to east, then I come to this direction and I know my future. If I come to this point, if I come to this cell, then I'm destined that I'll move to D. So I should not use E. Okay, then I have only one option, S. I come here and I see I have again two options, E. If I choose E, then I come to this point, right? And I should not come to this point. Why? Because I know that if I come to this point, then I'll have to go to D. So I say no to E and I move again to S. Okay. Then what about I have another two options S and E. I can't move to E, right? I again can't move to E. So basically what I moved, I can't move to E. Why? Because if I come to this point, then I'll know I go to D again. So I move, I get my courage up. I again move to south, and now I only have one option. I can only move to the east side, which means I will again move to D. So this path is again a big no, no. Which means if I follow this path, then I'll follow. I'll just move to that drop part. Okay, so basically these two are unsafe path. Now let's come to our third part. Okay, fingers crossed for this path, and I already used my blue color. Blue means good. Okay, so I have two options, east or south. I can't move east. Okay, so I move to south. Again east and south. I can't move to east. I move south. Again east and south. Can't move to east. I move to south. Again south and east. Can't move to east. You know why I'm not moving to east, right? Because I have come to this part. Then I know that I'll then if I come to this part, then I know that I'll fall to D. Okay, so I again move to south. Now I have some different options. I have WSE. So I say that I move to S again. I come to here, and after that, what I see that I have only one option to move to E, and I move to E. Then I see only one option to move to E, and I move to E. And whoa, this option, this path is sorry, that this cell, this first one, what this was 1 comma 4. This 1 comma 4 is a safe cell, because if I start from this cell, then I can maneuver up till the final point. So we are doing great. And this path is a safe cell, and you can just similarly do this operation on every of these cells to find out which path is safe and which path is not. Okay, so now let's start uh, our approach, how I'm going to approach this question, how we are actually going to solve this question, because right now the only thing I did was thinking about it. Okay, so uh, let's start. Okay, so what I am planning to do is I'm planning to do a very simple thing. I only what I'm going to do is I'm just showing my example on this example already. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll move to all of these cells. I'll move to all of these cells, and what I'll do is I'll move to all of these cells and I'll check if a path is possible, if there is any path, if there is any way that I can traverse this graph and I can move from this path to this final point. Is there any way that like this and this and this? I mean, sorry. I mean, is there any path uh, that I can use and maneuver up till F? So that is what I'm going to do is I'll just use a simple traversal approach. Okay, and I don't know if you are a beginner in graph or you are a pro in graph. I don't care about that, because I'll show you from a very root level that how I'm going to approach this question. Okay, so for that I need a little bit of what a preparation, a prerequisite, and that is a queue. So just give me 1 second. I'll make a queue. Okay, so now I've made my queue. Okay, and don't judge me based on my drawings. It's very good. Sorry, very bad. I'm saying good. Okay, so I'll just take any random coordinate. Okay, let's say that what I'll just take this coordinate. Okay, now I have to find out if there a path exists from this to this F. Okay, I need to check that. So how am I going to do that? I'll use a I'll use an traversal algorithm, but let's not go into the depth. I'll tell you it's working, and if you can figure it out what I'm using, then it's very great. Okay, so now how am I going to traverse this? It's very simple, but for that we have to keep a few checks in our mind, right? I have to keep in mind that have I previously visited this node before or not? Why am I saying that I have to check if it is visited or not? Because if I don't check that, then I'll just keep on following that same path again and again, and what will happen that I'll run to an infinite loop. I'll get a TLE, right? So I just mark, I just written a few coordinates for this last row, because I think I'll get my answer if I only follow these coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to use what I'll be just using a pink color. A pink color means that I have sorry, not pink. Okay, I'll just use this this color, and it will mean that I have already visited this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very simple. I come I'm starting from this cell right now. Okay, this 6 comma 1. Okay, so I come to this cell, I mark it as visited. I store this cell, this 6 comma 1 cell at my queue. Okay, I store this, and after that I see at which directions I can move. I can move to right now only one direction, right? So I just remove this 6 comma 1. I just remove this element from my queue. I remove this 6 comma 1, and what do? I insert its neighbors. I insert its neighbor. I mean, to which after which cell it's moving now, I insert it. So right now I'm moving to this E, right? So right now I am moving to E. So what I do is I mark this E as visited, and sorry, and I insert its coordinate in my in my queue. Okay, so I have written 6 comma 2. Now I'll see from 6 comma 2 where can I go. I can only move to each direction, right? Now I have to check to which direction I can move. So I'll check the strings. It says that I can only move to E. I move to each direction, right? And I so what do I do again? I again remove this 6 comma 2, and I insert this 6 comma 3 in my queue. Okay, I have inserted this 6 comma 3. Now I have marked this 6 comma 3 as my as my sorry, as visited. Okay, now comes the interesting part. N comma E, sorry, NE, it means that from here I can move to two directions, right? I can move to either upwards, I can move to either north or to east. So what I am going to do right now is I'll firstly, just remove this 6 comma 3 from my queue, and I'll insert the coordinates of all of its neighbors to which I can traverse. So and by the way, I have to check that neighbor is visited or not, because it has suppose this was NE, and this was NEW. Suppose it was NEW, so I wouldn't go back to W. Why? Because I'll check it is visited. If it is visited, then just remove. Don't even look at it. Don't bother about it. Okay. So right now, even though I have only N and E, I'll what will I do is I'll simply the coordinates of this DE will be what? It will be 5 comma 3, right? So what I'll do is I'll insert this what sorry I'll insert the coordinates of both of its neighbor in my queue. I have popped out this 6 comma 3. Okay, I have popped out this 6 comma 3, but I'll insert the coordinates. So I have inserted 5 comma 3. Okay, I hope you know that queue follows this what this FIFO pattern, right? So 5 comma 3 and 6 comma 4, I've inserted both of its what I've inserted both of its neighbors, right? So firstly, I move to 5 comma 3. I come to this point. Okay, I come to this point, and I see what? I see that I've encountered a D. So I encountered a D. So I don't do anything. Okay, I don't do anything, and I just remove this 5 comma 3. I remove this 5 comma 3 from my queue. I remove this. Okay, I remove this. Now, now I come to 6 comma 4, right? I come to 6 comma 4. Okay, so by the way, this is visited and this is visited. Okay, now I come to this 6 comma 4. Right now I'm at here. Okay, 6 comma 4. So I come to 6 comma 4. By the way, when will I stop my traversing? When will I stop? When my queue becomes empty. Right now my queue is not empty, even though I have I have already fallen into D, but my queue is not empty, right? Because I have one more element. I have this 6 comma 4. So until I'm done with traversing all of my neighbors, I won't stop. Okay, so but where is my cursor? Okay, okay, sorry. So right now I'm this E point. Right now I'm this 6 comma 4. Okay, now let's start. I'm at 6 comma 4, and I can only move to each direction, right? So I just the first thing that I do is I store the temporary pointer of its neighbor, and I'll remove this 6 comma 4. Now what are the neighbors to which I can access? I can only move to 6 comma 5. So I insert this 6 comma 5 in my queue. Okay, I come to this 6 comma 5. Great. Now I come to this 6 comma 5, and I'll mark it as visited, right? I'll mark it as visited. Now, when I come to this sorry, this 6.5, I see that at which direction can I move now? I can only move to this. I can only move to this F. Okay, I can only move to 6.6. So I insert 6.6, and before inserting, I remove 6.5. Okay, and I remove 6.6, and I check that I am at n comma n, which means what were the coordinates here? What were the that size of this total matrix? It was 6 comma 6. So this is going to be a boundary condition. If I am at n comma n, sorry, if my both my initial row and initial column are at n, and both of them are at n, then it means that I have finally reached into my final destination. And once I'm done there, I'm I'll mark that I'll mark this I'll mark this as a safe path. This is a safe path. I'll mark it as the blue color. Okay, so I'll now know that I can maneuver this path, right? So what were my base conditions? That my queue is empty or not? I'll keep on traversing till the time my queue is empty, or till the time I have reached this F. Okay, because I went to D first, right? I went to D first. I went to, sorry, at this, when I was at this point, I went to above first, and then I moved to this part first. But what if I had moved to east first? If I had moved to east first, then I simply would have, then I simply would have gotten to this final directly, and I don't need to check for further anymore, right? Because I know that there is one path using which I can maneuver to the final point. So this is going to be my approach. So once I'm done with this, I'll call off this function, and then I'll start again from for this SE. I'll start again for this SE. I'll mark, when I start from this SE, then all of my previous work, then that all of my previous work that I did for marking the visited, it will be removed, because that visited is for that particular grade. Okay, uh, that just I'll just undo all of this part. Why? Because this part was meant for only this, right? Now since I'm starting for this SE, I'll start again. SE means south or east. So I can only move to this direction or this direction, right? And then I'll again insert this 6 comma 1 into my queue, 5 comma 2 into my queue, and then in this way I'm going to you know what uh, by this way I'm going to traverse again till the time I reach F. And if I reach F, I break, I increase my counter, and I have successfully checked that there is one more path, there is one more safe cell available. Okay, but if at any point my queue becomes my queue is empty, and I don't have any more cells to traverse to, and I still haven't reached my final point, that means if I was here, then I would have traversed every sorry then I would have always encountered this D, and my queue would have become empty, and then I know that okay, I can't reach F, I'm done. And basically that means that what that means that this path is not safe. So this is going to be my approach. Okay, now let's move on to the interesting part. I hope you have gotten what I'm trying to say, right? So coding will be really interesting. Just give me a second, right? Give me a moment. All right, now let's start our coding part, and I have my examples here. Firstly, I'll have an input of 6, which means I have to create a matrix of 6 cross 6, and then I have my inputs. Okay, and these inputs are delimited by space. Keep that in mind. So now let's start. So I'll take my input. Okay, done. Now what? I'll create a graph. Initially it's empty. So for I in a range of n, okay, for I in range of n, I'll create a temporary list where I don't need to map them, because I usually map them into int, but I don't need to because they're already string. I'll take my input, and I'll split them using what? I'll split them using this comma, right? Done. My work is done here. Now what? Sorry, not done here. G dot append temp. Okay. So now I'll have my what? I'll have a matrix perfectly created. Okay. So I'll have my ANS. ANS means answer. Okay. This will count the total number of safe. I need to count the safe cells, right? So this will be counting my safe cells. Okay. So for I, by the way, what I'm planning to do is I'll start from here, and I'll check for all of this in one iteration. Basically, yes, I can do that, right? If I'm asking you to print using one loop, can you print me all of these values? Yes, you can. And if I ask you to use one loop and print all of these column, this first column, can you do that? Yes, it's very simple, right? So that is what I'm going to do is I'll come to each of this cell, this, this, and then check if there is a path exist or not, right? The possible path. Okay. So for I in the range of n, if G 0 comma I 0 comma I, which since I will be changing, what does it mean? That I'm only checking for the first row. Okay, first row means the top boundary, and that is what I'm supposed to check, right? So G 0 comma E, firstly I have to check that whether this cell itself is D or not, right? Because I have to check if it's because if that cell itself is D, then I don't need to check further, right? If that is the case, then please don't do anything. And after that, I'll create a function. I'll name it as possible, sorry, possible, and this will return me that if a path is possible from that particular cell to final point. Okay, and I'll pass what? I'll pass my coordinates, my initial coordinates, my I comma 0 are my initial coordinates, right? And after that, I'll pass my matrix, my G, and after that, I'll pass this since it's a square, then I can just pass the final by the way, I usually pass two columns, final row and final column, but since it's a square, then I only need to pass one parameter n. N will mean the final row or final column. Okay, so this will be my condition, and after that If this condition is true, which means that particular cell is not D, and a path is possible from that cell to final, then I'll increase my then I'll increase my answer by 1. Simple, right? And I'll do and in the same iteration and in the same, basically in the same loop, what I'll do is I'll this what is this? This is basically for the uh, first row, first row, or you can call it the north first row, or the north boundary, right? North B. So and in the same iteration, I'm going to calculate the same path for what for the for the first column, or what for the west boundary. Okay, how do I do that? I'll do the I'll just copy the same thing. Why do I even need to write this? Okay, so I'll just copy the same thing. By the way, just the coordinates will be changed. Instead of 0 I, it will become I comma 0, right? And I'll pass this again here like 0 comma I. Done. And if this is the case, then what will I do? I'll increment my answer by 1. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I'm doing is, firstly I'm checking for all of at the same point I'm checking for this ES, for this ES, sorry, for this cell and for this cell, and then checking for this cell and for this cell. Okay, clear, right? And by the way, if I do, if I only write this thing, then I'll check for this coordinate, this path, 2 times. I'll be checking for this cell 2 times. Why? Because this cell comes in both north and both in first row and first column, right? So I'll just avoid it checking twice by just writing this a single line. If I is not equal to 0, right? Because I will only be equal to 0 when I'm at the first first sorry at the first 0 comma 0 cell. Okay, so this will be my condition. Okay, okay, great. And after that I'll just print my answer. Pretty simple, right? Now the real trouble starts, now that we have to create this possible function. So this was my main code. Now I'll create my possible functions. Okay, so worry not, it's really really easy. So def possible. Okay, I have my 4 coordinates: initial row, initial column, and my graph and my n. Okay, so as I said before, I'll create a list, a matrix, a 2D matrix, sorry, which will check that whether have I actually visited that path before or not. So I'll initially mark it as false. Why am I marking it as false? Because if I mark it as false, then it means that what, sorry, if I mark it as false, then it means that I've initially not traversed to that cell. Okay, false means, sorry for the rush. My throat is a little dry. So false means that I have not, I have not visited that cell beforehand. Okay, so I'm creating a 2D matrix of the same size. So for I in a range of n, this will create a 2D matrix. Done. Done. Visited error. Why is there an error? Okay, okay, okay. For I this. By the way, does my audio comes a little low? Because if it does, then please mention in the comment section. I'll try to improve myself. And Okay, someone actually mentioned about the audio fact. That is why I'm asking it. Okay, so so what did I said before, that since I've I've created my 2D matrix, then I'll marked my initial row and initial column as true, which means that I've already accessed the first cell. I've already accessed the cell from where I'm starting, right? Okay, and what do I do? I simply insert them those what I'll create a queue. I'll create a queue and I'll simply append those the coordinates of those cell. Okay, that I've appended, sorry, that I've visited them, and then now you can actually traverse to their neighbors. Okay, and by the way, I am going to use a DQ. What do I mean by DQ? A DQ is a doubly ended queue. By the way, a feature of doubly ended queue is really good. I can insert and delete from both the sides. So how do you use a DQ? It's very simple. From collections, import DQ. Done. Done, right? Okay. From collections, import DQ, and then you can create a DQ. And how do I use a DQ? Q dot sorry, not Q. You have to just write this. Q is equal to DQ and this call. DQ is similar to a queue, but it has you can insert and delete it both front and back. You can use just pop left and all these functions. But okay, pop left and sorry. pop left, append left, and append and pop right. You can use you can insert and delete at both the sides. Okay. So I have appended my initial row and initial column. Okay. Now what? Now I'll check, is my queue empty or not. If I just simply write this, then it will check. It will stop when my queue is not empty. Sorry, when my queue is empty. Okay. So I am iterating till the time my queue is empty. I hope you remember why I'm doing this, because it will only happen when I've traversed to all the neighbors and I've still not encountered that final point. Okay. Now what? I'll create a variable cur. Cur means current. So current, I'll pop the first element, right? The pop, I'll pop left because it means the first element. I'll pop that element. Okay. And after that, I'll check something. I'll check that the element that I've popped, it has, in my queue I am appending to the list. Sorry, in my queue I'm appending a list of size 2. Okay, so I'll check if my if the element if but if sorry if the cell uh, that I've popped out, is it the final cell? And how do I do that? It's very simple. Check if it is if the current the row and the column, if the current row and the 0 means row and 1 means column. Okay, right, because this is IR and this is IC. So this 0 means row and this means column. So check this, if it is n minus 1, both of these value are n minus 1, and if it is n minus 1, then it can only mean one thing, that we are at the final point, and just don't do anything, return true. This will be my boundary condition, one of the boundary conditions. Okay, and otherwise if this is not the case, what do? You don't do much. Sorry. By the way, now you need to check which directions you can move to, right? So for that I'll just create this sorry I'll just create a variable directions. Okay, in directions I'll store at uh, my current my current row and current column will be stored in this cur, right? So I'll access it like this: g cur 0 and cur 1. So if I was at 0 comma 0, if I was at 0 comma 0, then I'll come here and I'll see that I have e comma s, right? So I'll insert this e comma s in a string name as directions. Okay, and now I'll start I'll now traverse to each of those directions. For direction in directions, I'm just naming it a little bit better. For direction in directions. Okay, since this will determine what, when I write this line directions equals to g 0 comma 0, it will determine what, it will determine this e comma s. Okay, so now I need to move to both directions. I need to move to first east and then I need to move to south. So that is why I have written this for direction and directions. By the way, this will be a constant because at max you can have 3, right? This will be constant, so no need to worry about it. Okay, so for for direction and directions, now oh, by the way, I think I'm forgetting something. Now I need to move the direction. Okay, so how do I move to direction? For that I am actually doing something. This will make my work a lot less tedious. I am creating a dictionary. What do my dictionary means? A dictionary, if the string is s, sorry, if the string is east, then you don't do anything. You move to your you add 0 in your row and you add 1 in your column. Okay, what I mean by this is, suppose I am at let's say 1 comma 1. Okay, and I'm supposed to move to east. So which direction is east? East is this right hand direction, right? So for moving into right hand direction, what do I need to do? I need to increase the size of my column, right? So that is exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm only going to write this, that at d comma d at whatever the direction is, whatever the direction is uh, sorry, I'm going to just write this, actually, I'll just write it here. uh, Sorry, I'll calculate the new row and column, right? Because if I move towards a direction, then I'll have a new row and column. And how do I calculate that? I'll have my current row at cur 0, right? My current row is at cur 0, plus what, plus dictionary at this at whatever direction you are, sorry, at whatever direction you are, and 0 0 will always mean row and 1 will mean column. Okay, keep that in mind. In fact, I'll just write a comment here. 0 means row and 1 means column. Okay, so add d direction 0. Direction will give me what? East. So I'll come here, east comma east 0. It will give me what? It will give me 0. So I'll add 0 to my current row to move east direction. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is 2 comma 2. Sorry, 2 comma 2. If I was supposed to move to right to east direction, right? If I was supposed to move to east direction, I am saying add 0 to your row and add 1 to your column, and you will move to the right cell. So I'll move to 2 comma 3. And is 2 comma 3 the right cell to 2 comma 2? Yes, it is, right? So I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say is I am just marking the directions with what kind of change in my cell I have to make. So for if I encounter E, I'll change it with 0 comma 1, and similarly for W I'll do what, think about it. If I'm moving to the west direction, then I'll do -1. Okay, I'll add these values to my current cell and I'll move to that particular direction. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, and what about S? If it's S, then what? If it's S, then I'll move my row to one step down and my column will remain same, right? And what about E, W, S, and then N? Okay, and I'll have my N. Then if I have an N, then it will mean that -1 comma 0. Okay, I hope you know what I'm trying to say is 2 comma 2, I want to move upside, then I add -1 to the row and 0 to the column. Then I'll get what? I'll get 1 comma 2. Is 1 comma 2 upwards to 2 comma 2? Yes, it is, right? So that is what I'm trying to do is I'll just add these values. So current, I'm finding my new current new row and new column. And how do I do that? I add the directions, at which direction I'm supposed to move, and I add the row and column to my current direction. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. It's really simple. Okay, now I need to check a few more things. What do I need to check? I need to check firstly if I am inside my boundary or not. I hope you know that, because if I'm moving my directions to some place, I need to check that if I'm at because initially where will I come? I will start from 0 comma 0, right? And if I try to move to upper direction, if I try to move to upper direction, then my coordinates will become like what? It will become like -1 comma 0, and this is out of boundary, right? So I need to check if my current row and column are they inside boundary or not. Okay, so uh, I'll check I'll pass three parameters R, C, and N if these are in boundary or not. And one more thing, uh, if what, if my R comma C, if basically at whichever cell I am, is it a D or not, right? If it is a D, then I don't need to check it. Okay, I don't need to go further. And one more thing, by the way, have I visited it before or not, right? I need to check that also. So I need to check that if my visited is what, if it is false or not. If it's true, then I need not to go there again, because I've already visited that path again. Okay, so if boundary RCN and GRCD, if my new row and column are in my boundary, and if my what if that particular cell is not a D, and if I have not visited it beforehand, then what will I do? I'll mark my I'll mark those I'll mark those new row and column as visited. Okay, because now I visited them, and I'll append them in my queue. I'll append those R and C at my new queue, because now I have to look at its neighbor. Okay, so after that, do I need to do anything? No. Once my I'll only return true inside my loop. Why? Because I don't need to do anything else. uh, but once my queue my queue has completely been emptied, my queue is now empty, then I'll return false, which means that no, I was not successful to reach the final if. By the way, I need to create another function, right? I need to create another function name as boundary, def boundary. Okay, don't worry, it's not much of a work. How do you check if you are in a boundary or not? Really simple. uh, R is greater than equal to 0, and R is less than equal to 0, and C is greater than, wait a second, why have I written, sorry, R is less than N. Okay, and C is greater than equal to 0, and C is less than N. So what it does is, suppose my new basically my new cells are out of bound. My new cells are 1 -1 comma 0, right? So I'll check it here. Is -1 greater than equal to 0? is minus 1 greater than equal to 0? No, it's not. So it will give me false. And now you can for you can use AND operator with false on crores of true. It will only return you false. So I'll return so I'll get a value of false here, which means I am out of bound. This is not in a boundary condition, and I'll I won't check again for this bound. I won't check again for this particular cell. Okay, so this is my boundary condition, and this was the whole code. I hope you have understood. I'll give you a summarized part. Just give me a second. I'll just now try to execute it and check if if there's an error or not. Run code, finger crossed. Okay, no errors. I'll just copy this example. Mm, mm. Okay, so first example, the output is supposed to be 9, right? uh Sorry, wait a second. Okay, I'll just paste it. Yes, 9. It works perfectly. Works almost perfectly. Okay, now what about this? I'll come to this. The second input test case, its output is 4. I'll run it again. Run code. 4. Great. Our code works perfectly. I'll just give you another I'll tell you what I did. I iterated to each since we are only supposed to check for what we are only supposed to check for the north and the west boundary condition, for the north and the west boundary. So I have traversed to each element, and after that I have checked whether they are by if they are D or not. And after that I've called a function to check if a path is possible from check it from sorry from 0 comma 0 to that particular to the final maze. Okay, so the function so the major role of this possible is to check if a path exist from current cell to final cell. Okay, and after that I have used a visited matrix to check if I have already visited that cell or not. And after that I have used a queue. To be more accurate, I've used a DQ. And after that I've just used this D matrix to utilize what to basically to uh, decrease my if condition. Otherwise I have to check if my direction is east or west or whatever it is. Okay, so I'll just use a map. Okay, and after that I've appended my initial row and column. Now I check for all of its neighbors. For that initial row and column, I check for its neighbor, that I traverse to their neighbors, and I check if a path is possible or not. And this way I just traverse to all of its neighbor and check if there is any single path, if there's a path exists, uh, so that I can reach to F. And in my way I check if it's in boundary or not, if I have encountered D or not, if it's visited or not. So these are just conditions. And by the way, if you don't know which traversal algorithm I use, this is BFS. Okay, if you use, remember one thing: if you use a queue, then it's BFS. If you use a stack, then it's DFS. How I remember it? I remember it with the word barbecue. Okay, I know it's a little bit weird, but I remember it with the word barbecue. Why? BFS, B and Q, barbecue, simple. And for the rest of it, after that we have only one stack. So for stack we'll use DFS. Okay, so that is how I remember it, barbecue. So B to Q, and after that Q sorry and whatever is left for everything else, DFS and stack. Okay, so this was my approach for skateboard, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And this is a really good question, and if you have understood it, then I assure you that you'll never ever face a problem again in solving a boundary condition question. uh, and I think I'll approach soon solve a question with DFS traversal if I found it. Okay, and by the way, since you guys ask question in comment section, right? Please just give me the problem link, question link. Otherwise, it becomes a little bit tiresome to find that problem online, right? And sometimes you find the problem wrong. So please, if you want to ask a question, then if you can, then please share me the link, the problem link. And thank you so much for watching this, guys. And if you like my video, then like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you.